I'm Monique.
What's up? I'm Vaughn.
And we're Being Boners.
How does a man go from sharing a child with someone to becoming the greatest threat to her life? How does a home meant to be safe turn into the scene of an unthinkable tragedy in the middle of the night, while a child is still inside? This is one of those stories that forces you to confront how quickly love can twist into control, and how danger doesn't always come from strangers lurking in the dark, but from someone who already knows the way in. You're watching The True Crime Shadow, where we uncover the stories that don't always make the headlines, but leave permanent scars behind. If you're drawn to real cases, hidden warning signs, and the truths people only talk about after it's too late, take a moment to subscribe and join this growing community. It helps the channel more than you know, and ensures you don't miss the next story we bring out of the shadows. This is Monique Aldridge, before her name was ever attached to a police report or a breaking news headline. Monique Aldridge was known for something very different: discipline, drive, and an almost relentless belief in personal growth. She was the kind of person who didn't wait for life to hand her opportunities. She created them. For the people who knew her, Monique wasn't defined by chaos or conflict, but by structure, purpose, and forward motion. Born and raised in Oakland, California, Monique showed signs of that determination early. She graduated high school at just 16, a milestone that hinted at how far ahead she was willing to push herself. That momentum carried her to the University of California, Davis, where she pursued a degree in biology, no small feat, and one that spoke to her focus and work ethic. She wasn't there to coast or blend in. She stood out, impressing classmates and professors alike with her discipline and ambition. Her education opened doors in healthcare, but Monique didn't stop there. Fitness became more than a routine. It became part of her identity. As a personal trainer, she poured herself into helping others feel stronger, healthier, and more confident. She spoke openly about self-improvement as a lifelong journey, something you commit to every day, even when it's hard. And she lived that philosophy not just in the gym, but in the way she carried herself through life. But for all her achievements, titles, and goals, there was one role that mattered more to her than anything else. One that grounded her, motivated her, and shaped every decision she made. And that was being a mother. Motherhood wasn't just a part of Monique Aldridge's life. It was the center of it. Everything she did, every goal she set, every sacrifice she made, traced back to one purpose: giving her son the best life possible. Those close to her often said her world revolved around him, and that wasn't an exaggeration. He was her pride, her motivation, and the reason she kept pushing forward even on the hardest days. She balanced her demanding career with the kind of hands-on love that can't be faked. School routines, everyday moments at home, planning for the future. Monique was present in all of them. She didn't chase success for status or praise. She chased stability, security, and a life where her child would always feel safe and supported. And by all appearances, she was doing exactly that. As time went on, Monique began to believe that her life was finally aligning with the future she had envisioned. She was building a new relationship with a partner who supported her growth and embraced her role as a mother. She was also pregnant with her second child, quietly preparing to expand her family and start a new chapter filled with hope. To her, this wasn't just a fresh start. It was proof that moving forward was possible. What Monique couldn't see was that while she was planning for tomorrow, someone from her past was watching closely, and the happiness she was stepping into would soon become the very thing that triggered everything to fall apart. The chapter Monique was trying to leave behind was her marriage to Von Boatner, a relationship that had unraveled long before the divorce papers were signed. On the surface, they shared what many couples do: a child and a history. But beneath that was a growing divide that never truly healed. Their visions for the future didn't align, and over time, that gap became impossible to ignore. Monique wanted more from life: more growth, more children, more forward movement. Vaughn, according to those familiar with the situation, didn't share that same desire. The tension that followed wasn't loud or dramatic at first. It was slow, unresolved, and emotionally draining. Eventually, the marriage ended, and Monique believed that closing that door would allow both of them to move on. But reports suggest Vaughn struggled deeply with that reality. While Monique focused on rebuilding her life, he appeared unable to accept that she was no longer his to control. Investigators later said his behavior shifted from lingering attachment to fixation. What should have been a clean break turned into something far more unsettling. As Monique stepped into a happier, more stable future, it has been said that Vaughn remained anchored in resentment. Her new relationship, her pregnancy, her visible peace. It all became reminders of a life he had lost. And instead of letting go, that bitterness began to harden. Quietly, persistently, and with consequences no one around them fully understood at the time. Because while Monique believed the past was behind her, the past was already finding its way back. The night of May 11th, 2021, began like any other for Monique Aldridge. She was settling into her home, preparing for what she hoped would be a quiet evening with her boyfriend and her child, unaware that this night would end in unimaginable tragedy. Just hours later, everything would change in a way no one could have anticipated. Around 2 a.m., a 911 call shattered the calm. Police arrived at the home in the 100 block of Cassia Drive, responding to reports of gunshots. What they found inside was chilling. Monique had been shot 7 times in the head, lying lifeless in her own bed, while her boyfriend had been critically wounded with a gunshot to the stomach. And in the midst of this horror, the most terrifying detail was clear. The shooter had vanished, leaving chaos in their wake. The investigation would soon uncover the source of this violence. The person responsible wasn't a stranger, a random intruder, or someone from the neighborhood. It was Vaughn Boatner, Monique's ex-husband, a man who had once vowed to care for and protect her, now responsible for the destruction of the family he helped create. Even more haunting, their 5-year-old son had been present in the home during the attack. Though physically unharmed, he witnessed a scene no child should ever have to endure. The emotional weight of that night would follow him and his family forever. For the community, the shock was profound. A young mother, pregnant with her second child, taken in a violent act that appeared sudden but was rooted in a lingering obsession. The night of May 11th didn't just end a life. It shattered a family and sent ripples of fear, grief, and questions through everyone who knew Monique. And as authorities pieced together the events, it became clear that the tragedy was preventable, that warning signs had existed, and that one man's inability to let go had escalated into something horrifying. The stage was set for a nationwide manhunt, one that would soon bring the full weight of justice down on Vaughn Boatner. But the scars of that night would last far longer than any legal proceeding. As news of the shooting spread, the urgency to find Vaughn Boatner became immediate and relentless. Police quickly identified him as the prime suspect and discovered he had fled the state before they could serve a search warrant at his residence. Authorities warned the public that he was armed and dangerous, sparking a nationwide manhunt that involved multiple law enforcement agencies, including the U.S. Marshals. Every lead, every tip, and every sighting became crucial as time stretched on and the country watched in suspense. The investigation into Vaughn's past painted a troubling picture. Reports revealed a history of violence, including prior convictions for illegal gun possession and multiple domestic violence calls. Neighbors and friends of Monique later said that, while there had been tension and lingering issues between her and Vaughn after the divorce, no one anticipated that it could escalate to such a deadly level. Authorities now faced questions about the missed warning signs, as Vaughn's growing obsession with Monique had clearly spiraled into premeditated violence. Days passed and the search intensified. Vaughn was added to the U.S. Marshals Most Wanted list, with a $10,000 reward offered for information leading to his capture. The public remained on high alert, and his evasion added to the tension and fear surrounding the case. Every report, every news bulletin, and every community tip brought law enforcement one step closer. But the nation collectively held its breath, waiting for the inevitable confrontation. Finally, in a residential neighborhood in Seattle, Washington, the manhunt ended. Local police, assisted by the King County Sheriff's Office and U.S. Marshals, apprehended Vaughn without incident. He was taken into custody, charged with homicide, attempted homicide, child endangerment, and possession of a firearm as a felon. While the arrest brought a measure of relief, the damage had already been done. Monique was gone. Her boyfriend carried the scars of the attack, and their son had witnessed trauma that would follow him for years. The manhunt revealed more than just Vaughn's flight. It exposed a pattern of control, obsession, and unresolved anger that had been allowed to fester unchecked. For law enforcement, the case became a stark reminder of how dangerous domestic violence can become when warning signs go unheeded. And for Monique's family, it underscored the urgent need for justice and accountability. With Vaughn Boatner finally in custody, the legal process moved forward, though it offered only a fraction of the closure Monique's family desperately needed. Vaughn was formally booked on multiple charges, including homicide, attempted homicide, child endangerment, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. He was held without bail, awaiting extradition back to California to face trial. The arrest marked the end of the manhunt, but it also signaled the beginning of a long and emotionally charged fight for justice. For Monique's family, the aftermath of her death was an overwhelming mix of grief, anger, and disbelief. Losing a loved one is never easy, but to have her life taken in such a violent, preventable way amplified the pain. Family members spoke of the shock and the profound difficulty of processing a reality that no one could have imagined. Her parents and younger sister mourned the loss of a bright, loving, and driven woman whose presence had been integral to their lives. Even as the family grappled with their sorrow, they focused on supporting Monique's 5-year-old son. Though physically unharmed during the attack, he had witnessed a tragedy no child should ever see. Ensuring he received the emotional care and guidance necessary to navigate such trauma became a priority for the family, who vowed to shield him from the long-lasting effects of that night as much as possible. Beyond the immediate grief, Monique's death also became a catalyst for reflection on broader societal issues. The case highlighted the dangers of unresolved domestic disputes, the warning signs that often go unnoticed, and the importance of proactive intervention. Her family's advocacy and the attention the case drew emphasized the need for awareness, support for victims, and accountability for perpetrators. Though Vaughn's arrest brought some relief, the scars of that night would linger. The family knew that justice through the courts would take time, but they were determined to ensure that Monique's story would not be forgotten. Her life, her love for her children, and her commitment to helping others became the foundation for a legacy that sought to prevent similar tragedies in the future. Through grief, advocacy, and unwavering love, Monique's family continues to honor her memory, determined that her death will inspire change and protect others from the devastating consequences of domestic violence. Monique Aldridge's story is one that lingers long after the headlines fade, a reminder of how quickly life can change and how dangerous unresolved anger and obsession can become. She was a woman full of ambition, love, and purpose, a devoted mother, and a role model for her community. Her dreams of expanding her family and building a life filled with joy and stability were tragically cut short, leaving those who loved her to grapple with questions that may never have answers. Yet, even in the face of such senseless violence, Monique's life continues to inspire. Her family's strength, their commitment to justice, and their efforts to raise awareness about domestic violence ensure that her story is more than just a tragedy. It is a call to action. It reminds us all to be vigilant, compassionate, and proactive when we see someone at risk, and to never underestimate the power of love, perseverance, and community support in the aftermath of loss. As you reflect on Monique's life, consider the warning signs, the opportunities to intervene, and the importance of standing up for those who may not be able to protect themselves. Her story is a powerful example of the impact one life can have, and the legacy one family can carry forward to spark change. Thank you for watching this episode of The True Crime Shadow. If Monique's story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories that uncover the truth behind shocking events. And remember, every story you hear here is a reminder to look closer, care deeper, and never take a single moment for granted. Stay safe, stay aware, and we'll see you in the next episode.